Hey guys, today we're going to go over some shoulder stuff. We're not going to go over everything, but really the basics of lateral raises, go over some front raises, even though they're not my favorite.
Some presses. Shoulder presses,
and rear delt movements, which is very complicated for most people to do because they always incorporate their back muscles when they're using the movement. So today we'll start with lateral raises. All right, so we're going to talk about lateral raises, or when you see people do variations of lateral raises. I'm going to start with the two ones that you generally do not want to do in the purpose of building muscle, more in the sense of rehabilitation or strengthening of rotator cuff muscles. So that means weights lighter, high repetitions, and you won't be doing this as your, the meat and potatoes of the workout, the shoulder workout. So the first one is going to be thumbs up, or right like this, and you're going to come up just like that. All right. Sometimes you'll see them. People also kind of come more in the front. This, obviously in these movements, you're going to be working your deltoids. It has to be involved. But it also isolates more the supraspinatus of the rotator cuff muscle. There's 4 rotator cuff muscles, and that's one of the ways to kind of isolate it and get it involved. All right. It also puts an unnecessary strain on your bicep. There's another reason why you can't use this as a heavy weight. Okay. This is a warm-up movement or rehab movement, or a movement you do just to keep the muscles strengthened in the shoulder. Okay. It's not a movement to use heavy. For girls, even 2 pounds. 2 to 3 pounds, 5. Guys, obviously that will vary, but I mean, if you're doing 30 pounds with it, you're gonna hurt yourself eventually. Can you handle that weight? Probably, but it's gonna cause overuse injuries, put your bicep tendon in a compromised position? Yes, all right? The other is dumping out the cup, okay? Dumping out the cup is when you do the lateral raise and you're pretending you're dumping it out, okay? So from the side, she's dumping it out. This can also put unnecessary strain on your shoulder. Anytime you do internal, external rotation while doing a lateral raise with weight, with heavy weight, you can compromise and hurt the shoulder. Obviously, we're trying to build muscle without hurting the shoulder. So it doesn't mean it's wrong. You could do it for warm-up. You could do a lot of repetitions with it. Nothing really heavy. The correct way, and to hit the delts directly and keep the shoulder in the best position possible so you don't injure it, is lateral raise with the arms directly at your sides and neutral.
Not wailing.
Yep. And you do not need to pass your shoulders this way. You start going up that way, you're going to get impingement syndrome in your shoulder, and you put your shoulder in a compromised position. That is a correct lateral raise, okay? You see some people bend their elbows like this, bend, yeah. Well, obviously, is that wrong? Not necessarily, but you're also shortening the lever arm, so it's a hell of a lot easier. You see guys doing 60 pounds, they're going like this. Yeah, try straightening your arm and doing it a little more difficult.
You can also start from here.
Yep.
Out.
Yep. So from a side view when you're doing it, she's starting there and coming up. And that is for their medial delts. Okay? And that is the safest way to do your lateral raise. There's obviously variations. You can do cable. You can line the floor and take a light weight and go like this. So changing the direction of where you're hitting your delts, or an incline bench when you're leaning and going in this direction. Okay? So that's what you want to spend your time doing. Obviously slow controlled movements. You're not looking to do reps of 6 of this. Stay repetitions of like 8 to 15. That's where you want to be around.
And do a good warm up.
And do warm up, warm them up. Start slow and progressively increase each set. Okay? And that's your lateral raise. All right, so we're going to demonstrate shoulder press, variations of shoulder press. We're not going to go over 150 of them, all of them, all right? We're just going to go over basics of shoulder presses, all right? If you understand the basic of shoulder press, you'll be able to do any type of shoulder press, okay? We're first going to start with standing military press, standing barbell press, same thing. You grip the bar slightly outside your shoulder width. Obviously, the narrower you go in, you can actually potentially, it's safer for your shoulders, believe it or not. Farther away you go out, you're going to have a greater mechanical advantage because the distance to travel is less. You'll have more potential to hurt your shoulder. So we're going to be in the middle, little outside shoulder width. As you notice, she's holding the bar. Her elbows are underneath the weight, okay? She's not like this. Their elbows are right, perfect. Elbows are tucked under the weight. The bar's here. She's going to press the bar slowly above her head. Yeah. And when she comes down, the elbows lead forward as she comes down, up, That is a standing military press. It's so important that the elbows come down and the elbows are directly underneath the weight. This is completely perpendicular to the floor, okay? You don't want to extend it so you're pushing straight out. You don't want to do that, okay? But don't hit yourself in the chin either. That happens. Good. Face front. A couple more repetitions. How far do you bring the bar down? Obviously, if this is push press or powerlifting, you got to touch, but we're not powerlifting. So bring it down to the chin. Bring it down slightly, below the chin is fine. You just you don't need to bring it all the way down and put your shoulders in a compromised position. Not all of us have boobs to rest their bar on. Okay, press above. Good, and that is a barbell shoulder press or standing military press. We're gonna do the same press with dumbbells standing. Standing, you invert a little more of a challenge because people tend to not have a back support, so they tend to arch and they can lean back. You also can't use as much weight because you see a lot of guys doing seated shoulder press and they arch their back, which incorporates more of their upper chest. So standing, you're forced to have a less mechanical advantage in having to put more pressure on the front anterior part of your delt.
You have to control the weight more.
Yeah, and you have to control the weight more or you're gonna fall over. So this is a standing dumbbell press. You can do this neutral grip. This is actually better for your shoulders, okay, than turning it all the way this way, all right? Change it up, see how it feels. Is one better than the other? Not necessarily, okay? And the weight's in the same way. Elbows are underneath the weight. Yeah, and do the other grip. Yeah. And dumbbells get a little more trickier when you're having to put your elbows underneath the weight.
You might want to use a mirror for this.
Yeah, and that's what mirrors are for. Mirrors aren't really for selfies. Mirrors are for actually to do exercises correctly. Very simple. Weight underneath the bar. That's so important. And the arm is moving like this. You're not, do it the wrong way. Yeah. Yeah, where your elbows are all the way out to the sides. You don't want to do that.
Or if you're too in like this.
All right, and obviously there's Arnold press, there's rotating, there's all these things you can do, but we're not going to go into that. Just the basics of doing shoulder press. And now we're going to demonstrate it on a seated position. So now we're going to go over barbell press, seated barbell press. Obviously there's a machine for this where it has the rack behind you. It's good to have a spotter help you unlift the rack to come in front of you. Or you could put the seat all the way down and rest the bar on the safety rack. And then roll it back and press from there. Little tip. But today we're going to do it this way. So obviously you can see she's seated. Now she has a back support. There always is a little bit of arc in your back. You don't want to completely press it. You also don't want to excessively come away from the pad. Now put your butt away from it. All right. Now it's becoming an incline movement. Okay. So bring your butt back. Yeah. A slight arch in the back is fine. Elbows are underneath the weight. Now she's going to press. Yeah, perfect. Slight arch, her butt's against the pad. She's not making this an incline pressing movement.
Not pushing out.
Not pushing out. Elbows, hands are shoulder width apart. That's exactly shoulder press, very self-explanatory. I can't stress enough, the elbows underneath the weight, okay? Good, now let's show some dumbbells. Yeah, elbows underneath the weight. Sometimes you see a lot of people do this, where their elbows are all the way out here and pressing. That's not good for your shoulder, okay? And they're just doing like these baby half rep things, okay? So elbows underneath slightly. Yeah, moving a little slight arc. Very easy, self-explanatory. If you don't think you're doing it right and you feel unsafe, then don't do it. Barbell is a little easier to do than dumbbells, okay? Dumbbells, you're kind of unstable.
You don't also have to go all the way down like this.
Yeah.
But you don't want to stop up here.
Yeah. Well, and also in theory too, it's like you don't want to lock out, okay? This isn't powerlifting. We don't have rules, okay? So coming just shy of lockout and coming down a little past 980 and coming up. Perfect. So we're going to show rear delts. This is the kind of the easiest way kind of to learn this. Anyway, so what we'll do,
Family friendly.
you really shouldn't keep your neck in this position, okay? Keep your neck neutral, okay? Now she's going to demonstrate a rear delt movement. I'm going to explain it, all right? So the rear delt is not a very big muscle. It's behind the shoulder. It helps bring the shoulder around in this direction, right? Now, the error that a lot of people make is they lift their whole shoulders and shoulder backs together, using their back muscles to move the arm. So in theory, if you kept your shoulder blades protracted forward and you just brought your arms this way, you are isolating your rear delt. It doesn't take very much weight in this particular position if you don't use any momentum at all. The other thing people do is when they bring their shoulders up, they'll try to bring it up like this, like making almost like a lateral raise, bringing the medial delt into it. You want to keep your elbows in this plane of motion. So from a side angle, you're going this way.
Palms facing you.
All right, grab the weight.
Another kick for your chest.
There you go. Yeah. See, you get the rear delts working right here. The back of her arms facing the ceiling, so she's not bringing her medial delts into it as much. Her shoulder blades aren't all coming together. And same thing, you start out very slow, 15 to 20 reps to learn the movement, because anytime you're trying to learn a new movement, moving heavier is just going to force you into the same mechanics that your body is used to. Using lighter weight to gain the correct technique is the best way to relearn how to do it properly, and then slowly add weight over time. And so that way you're learning it, getting that form down, like practice makes perfect, and then eventually going heavier, you'd be able to still duplicate the same exercise correctly without sacrificing form. All right, we're gonna just do standing, bent over, dumbbell, lateral raise for the rear delt. We're gonna do two different variations of grip. So bends out, chest up, butt out, so her back's nice and straight, okay? A little tension in the hamstrings, and she's doing the same thing. Pulling apart, elbows are at the sides. See how they're not doing a row motion? Now do a row motion. All right, in the middle of that. Yeah, so people start to do lateral raise, they start to go in this plane using their back. That's not really rear delts. Of course your rear delts are working, but not isolating them. To isolate them, you need your elbows out more towards your head. Now she can do the other grip, neutral grip, pull apart. Which grip is better? You have to determine that, okay? Change it up. I say change it up. Here. And then turn this way, and go ahead. Shit, I gotta open that for her. Good. All right, so we did some basic shoulder stuff, nothing too advanced, really for the beginner, learning how to do your lateral raise, rear delts, and presses, okay? Some of that basic stuff, I see a lot of advanced guys in the gym doing it wrong still. Yep. So you could still re-look at your technique and go over it. If your technique's off and you're not getting the most out of your shoulder workout, you won't grow as much for those bodybuilders, all right? So really look at your angles, look at your technique, make sure you're not putting your shoulders in a compromised position, because if you're injured, you are not growing.
And if you're a beginner, take it slow, warm up, use light weight at first until you get the form down, and then start moving up and really kind of pushing the weight with proper form. If you like what we're doing, subscribe, please like the video, and let us know what you want to see next.
All right. All right, so am I even in the fucking thing? I can't see my head. It's the top. If I'm standing right here, can you even see my head? Or is it cut off? I need to see myself.
Why?
Because so I know how to stand. I don't want to be out of the picture.
You stand right here.
Can you put the thing out? Bonds. All right, guys, we just went over some lateral raises, rear delt stuff, front raises. I mean, you go front. Come on, let's do it again. I can see myself in the mirror.
Is it on?